I want to get into this Harrison Butker thing.
Oh, okay.
And this is what I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
Harrison Butker made a speech. He's Catholic at a Catholic college, small college there. And the reception of those that were at the graduation ceremony was very positive. In other words, he was sort of speaking the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it didn't sit well with a lot of outsiders.
Mm.
And my only feeling about this situation is always this. And this is someone that talks for a living. When I think back when I first started radio, and by the way, I posted today on my Twitter account, my X account, about it's 28 years ago today that my original loose cannon partner, the legendary producer-director of Monday Night Football, Chet Forty, passed away. I've been getting a lot of reaction. A lot of people still around that remember those early days. But I remember thinking about, what can you say, what can't you say? Mm-hmm. And the one thing I'm really, really against is the idea of a cancel culture. And I say that just because I do believe that within reason, I'm not talking about promoting violence or something along those lines, but if you have beliefs that are not in tune with what I believe, you still have the right to say them. Mm-hmm. And some of the people that have been calling out Harrison Butker, and I was sort of tongue-in-cheek joking there with Adam Kaplan, has he been expelled from the league? By the way, the Chiefs family ownership, the Hunt family, they're in full support of Harrison Butker. In their world, he does speak the gospel. That's how they believe things should be. And that's okay also. It doesn't mean, well, gee, I'm never going to watch a Chiefs game again. But there is an added group of fans that have suddenly latched on to the Kansas City Chiefs, and those are fans of Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I want to I've said my piece, like I say, whether I agree or disagree with what anybody says, I really do not care what athletes say. I don't care about their sexual orientation. I don't care about anything other than watching them as athletes. They have the right to say whatever they want to say as long as it doesn't promote some sort of violence. And it's simple as that. I just don't care. I'm old school. I like to watch games. I'm not thinking if Harrison Butker is lining up for a game-winning field goal, am I betting against him? Well, if I'm betting on the other team, yeah, probably miss. But it doesn't have any impact as far as I'm concerned in terms of how I view an athlete. I've said my piece. I know Monse's ready to speak on this, so go right ahead.
So one of the things, obviously, is like you're not affected because you're not a woman, right? So women topics, it's like in the words of Rachel Green and Friends, no uterus, no opinion. Okay, so I stand by that when it comes to certain topics. I do not agree one bit that we as women have been diabolically lied to about what my purpose in life is. I could not disagree with Harrison Butker more. I don't have kids. I don't intend to have kids. That has never been something I've been wanting to do. Could not disagree more. Do I think the guy needs to lose his job? No, absolutely not. Like you said, he's Catholic. He believes that. He was speaking at a Catholic school where a lot of people feel that way. I went to Catholic school my entire childhood up until 8th grade. I am not a very religious person. My mom says the rosary every single day, but I am not a very religious person. I learned a lot, and to me, if religion helps you be a better person, then by all means, please be religious. It is just not for me. And I could not disagree more with Harrison Butker and what he said about women. But that doesn't mean he can't feel that way. A lot of people feel that way. Now, I am surprised that the speech was approved. Unless he didn't read it, I hope somebody would have told him, you can say whatever you want. This just might cause a stir. I wonder if he was told that and if he was aware that it could have caused a stir. Again, I don't think he should lose his job because you know what? I'm not dating the guy. I don't care. He's not like I'm going to go have his kids and he wants me to stay at home. So I truly don't care in that aspect. But as a woman, hearing that, if you have no idea how many times I've been told that I need to have babies because that's my purpose in life. And I just look at them and smile and, roll my eyes and say, well, that's not what I want to do. It's something we hear a lot, and it's annoying is what it is. But what? Go ahead. You want to believe that? You have a wife that is a stay-at-home. Good for you. Look at you. You've made it work. You've made it work. I could not believe the uproar I saw about him losing his job over this, really. And it's just because religion is such a touchy subject. And even Catholics, like you see on social media, people are like, I'm Catholic, but that's wrong. And he's It's just such a split. There's such a divide when it comes to religion, even if you are Catholic and someone else is Catholic. It's just different for everybody nowadays. The way you want to preach and the way you want to believe is different. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you said, that like it shouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things. He shouldn't be losing his job. But I 100% disagree with what he said about women.
If you choose to have children,
yes,
whether you're a woman or a man, your children should be a priority.
Yes.
I mean, if you're talking about a priority for a mother, well, there's an equal priority for a father.
Correct. And did he say that? Did he say, women, you're supposed to be at home?
He said the role of the wife and of mother, and I'm thinking to myself...
But the man needs to provide so that a woman can stay home and be a stay-at-home mom.
But
comfortably.
Just being a provider is not enough.
No, it's not.
You need to be a father. If you choose to be a father,
100%.
Be a father.
I agree.
I mean, I was someone that had to work 7 days a week for many, many years to allow my wife to be a stay-at-home mom. But at the same time, I couldn't shirk my responsibility as a father simply because I worked 7 days a week.
Right.
I made my schedule compatible to spend as much time with my children as I possibly did. I was a midday sports radio host for many, many years. I was there in the morning, there in the evening, and then I did weekend television in the evenings so I could be there on Saturday and Sunday mornings for my kids' sporting events and everything else. Was I a perfect father? Far from it, but at least I realized I have a responsibility. So again, when we're talking about the responsibility of women and their greatest priority is to, if you're going to be a mother, then it has to hold true for men as well. We're talking about the Butker situation. He's not going anywhere. I mentioned the fact that the Hunt family are in full support of Harrison Butker.
Chris Jones, too. Jones retweeted something about it.
Okay, so the Chiefs organization is standing behind their kicker. Mm-hmm. But what about Taylor Swift? Now, here's the thing. So Taylor Swift, the billionaire, self-made, she holds a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when you're in that kind of position that people expect you to comment. Remember, they were talking about she should come out in support of a presidential candidate, or she has that kind of weight. Do you expect Taylor Swift to make any comment about the Butker situation? Should she?
I really hope she doesn't. That is the safer bet. Do not say
anything.
You
say safe.
Yeah, that's the safer bet because we just talked about how much of a divide you're seeing here with people who are religious among women. I read that the women, a bunch of them bought a bunch of Harrison Butker jerseys and they sold out women's jerseys. So you can see how divided this is, how split this is. I don't think there's anything that she can say. Or also, like, why do you want to get yourself involved? I understand that because of who she is.
If she was asked the question, are you comfortable with your boyfriend being a teammate of Harrison Butker?
You know, I am not on the team, so I can't really answer that. I'm not the one playing alongside him. It's a hard thing to deflect, but she should deflect it. She really should, because they're going to dissect whatever it is she decides to say. And I'm pretty sure she has come out in support of pro-choice, which is, as a woman, I agree. No uterus, no opinion. So unless she's asked about that specifically, because he addressed that a little bit in his speech, I feel like she should do her best to sidestep and not get involved. She doesn't need to get involved.
When Michael Sam was the first openly gay player drafted into the NFL, this guy was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year at Missouri and did not go until the final round of the draft, and that was by the local team at the time, the St. Louis Rams. And even though he had multiple sacks in the preseason, he got released before the season began.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the outcry was simply this from his potential teammates. They could care less about his sexual preference. What they did care about was the fact they were constantly being asked questions about his sexual preference. And if they didn't come up with the right answer,
Right.
then all of a sudden you're a homophobe.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you were saying, I 100% support him, as opposed to saying, I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't care, then that and this is the same thing that's going to happen with the Chiefs and Butker. This is not going to go away.
It's not.
And so you will have to say, if you support him and his views, you're going to, and believe me, right now the NFL is not going to touch this. They've made their statement, we're all inclusive and everything else. But if there's like this universal support of Harrison Butker and his views, or his right to say things, even though I think the majority of people say he can say whatever he wants, there will be a strong enough faction of people saying, no, we're done. We're done with the Chiefs. And by the way, how dare you, Taylor Swift, to associate yourself with this organization?
That's just ridiculous.
I
And
know
you're
it
right.
is.
And you're right. But because even saying something like what I said, where it's like, I don't agree at all with what he said. But at the same time, I don't think he should lose his job. I don't think that would be a good enough answer if someone like Taylor Swift were to say that, or even a teammate where they're like, I actually don't agree with what he's saying. My wife works and has a career and still has kids, but he can say whatever he wants. It's like people are not going to be satisfied with that answer for anyone that is directly connected to the Chiefs.